Right, so we're talking about Sammy Guevara today. I thought I'd do an AEW wrestler since I've been doing all WWE wrestlers. So obviously he's an American professional wrestler. He is signed to All Elite Wrestling, where he is a member of La Fashion Incubernable. Not sure how that is said. And he is the reigning three-time former AEW TNT champion. He also appears in AEW sister promotion Ring of Honor and is one half of the ROH World Tag Team Champions with the Beast Mortos in their first reign, his third individually. He made his wrestling debut in 2010 after being trained by Booker T, beginning his career in Booker T's variety of wrestling promotion. Throughout the 2010s, he worked in numerous companies in the US, most notably Impact Wrestling. He has also wrestled in Japan with DDT Pro Wrestling. Guevara has been with AEW since promotion's founding in 2019, featured in early on as a member of Chris Jericho's first stable, the Inner Circle. He has previously worked in Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, where he is a former AAA Mixed Tag Team champion with real life wife Tay Mello and former Triple H Cruiserweight champion. I'm not going to get into his into detail about his wrestling career. I was trying to say, and then we will keep going and then tell me opinions at the end. So after graduating from Booker T's wrestling school, Guevara made his first major promotion debut on January 5th, 2013 for the National Wrestling Alliance. On April 7th, 2016, Guevara worked for AAA Tag Team Dark Match with Tony Guevara, the Laredo Kid, against Los Matadores. Guevara first worked for Impact Wrestling in 2017 on a weekly TV show Impact Explosion in a tag team match with Davey Richards against Drago and Taiji Imoshi. Guevara was later in Impact's Super X Cup tournament, losing to Drago in the opening round. Guevara debuted on Pro Wrestling Guerrilla in 2017 Battle of the Los Angeles tournament, advancing to the quarterfinals, and also in 2017 Guevara attended a tryout for WWE in the Performance Center and did a handful of dark matches for them. The promotion, but was not signed at PWG May 2018. Bask in His Glory event, Guevara wrestled for PWG World Champion Walter in the main event for the title. Guevara debuted in Major League Wrestling and appeared many times on the TV show in 2018. Guevara won the PWFP Ultimate Championship from Raja Naveed after the Rumble in Pakistan event in 2019, but was later stripped of the title for going 340 plus days without making a single defense. So in 2019 to 2018 to 2019, Guevara was a cast of the first season 4 of Lucha Underground, the scripted TV show AAA co-produced with El Rey Network. Guevara made his Lucha Libre Worldwide debut at Venero de Escalano 2018, he won AAA World Cruiserweight Championship at Triple Mania annual event on August before losing it to Laredo Kid on February 16th, 2019. At Triple Mania, Guevara teamed up with Scarlett Bordeaux in a match for the AAA World Tag Team Match Championship, where they were unsuccessful. Now we're going to get into his All Elite Wrestling and Ring of Honor career. On February 7th, 2019, Guevara announced that he had signed with newfound or formed All Elite Wrestling. At the promotion's inaugural event, Double or Nothing, Guevara was defeated by Kip Sabian. At Fight for the Fallen, Guevara teamed up with MJF and Sean Spears to defeat Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, and Joey Janela in a 6-man tag team match. On a premiere episode of AEW Dynamite, Guevara lost to Cody. After the match, Guevara shook hands with Cody before AEW World Champion Chris Jericho viciously attacks Cody from behind in front of him. Later that night, Guevara established himself as a heel when he assisted AEW World Champion Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, Santana Ortiz attacking Roddy, the Young Bucks, and Cody's half-brother Dustin Rhodes. They created a group that would be known as the Inner Circle. Guevara then began a feud with Darby Allin leading to 2020, all while assisting Jericho in his rivalries and championship defenses. At Revolution, Guevara was defeated by Allin. The Inner Circle and the Elite were set to compete in a blood and guts match, but the COVID-19 outbreak would cause AEW to postpone the match. Guevara then would compete in tournaments for the inaugural AEW TNT champion. He was again beaten by Allin in the first round of the tournament. A match between Matt Hardy and the Elite and the Inner Circle would be announced for Double or Nothing, called the Stadium Stampede. At the event, the Inner Circle faced the Elite and Matt Hardy, but were unsuccessful in winning. On June 22nd, 2020, Guevara was suspended by AEW after it was revealed that he made an inappropriate joke about wanting to go rape WWE wrestler Sasha Banks during a podcast in 2016. He later made a YouTube video apologising for his remarks and taking accountability for what he said. Later that day, Banks announced that she and Guevara were in contact with each other and that he had apologised to her and that they had engaged in an open discussion to help him understand the severity of his comments. Conditions of his suspension that he was going to be required to attend sensitivity training while his weekly pay was donated to the Women's Centre in Jacksonville. During this course of his suspension, Guevara returned to an episode of Dynamite disguised as Serpineco as he interfered to help Jericho and Hager defeat Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in a tag team match. After Guerrero's return, he resumed his feud with Matt Hardy. However, it was later paused due to Hardy sustaining an injury during a Broken Rules match at All Out. Their feud ended with the Elite Deletion match at Full Gear, where Hardy won. At Full Gear, MJF and Wardlow became Guevara's new teammates in the Inner Circle after MJF defeated Jericho. On the December 9th Dynamite, Jericho held an ultimatum for the Inner Circle, with many members showing frustration with MJF. Sammy Guevara would declare that he is one of those that if one more thing happened with MJF, he would quit the Inner Circle, and the two would then shake hands. On an edition of AEW Dynamite, following the week's growing tension between the two, Guevara attacked MJF following backstage confrontation, which MJF a kayfabe rib injury. Later that night, Guevara announced that he was departing from the Inner Circle. This was set to leave him appearing on Impact Wrestling, but both parties couldn't come to agreement about Guevara's storylines. A month later, an episode of Dynamite, Guevara would make a return to AEW. He revealed that he had set up a camera in the Inner Circle's locker room which recorded MJF, convinced Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz to turn on Chris Jericho. When it looked as though the three was about to attack Guevara and Jericho, they instead turned on MJF. Jericho would then fire MJF on the spot. However, MJF would state that he had already begun creating his own group, which led to Sean Spears and Wardlow, FTR, and Tully Blanchard coming out and attacking the Inner Circle. Guevara, along with the other Inner Circle members, would return yet again to attack a group now known as the Pinnacle. They would kick the Pinnacle out of their locker room as they were taken over during the Inner Circle's absence. 2 weeks later, Chris Jericho would challenge the Pinnacle to a Blood and Guts match. At AEW's Blood and Guts, the Pinnacle would defeat the Inner Circle after Guevara forfeit the match to save Jericho from being pushed off the top of the cage by MJF. However, MJF would still push Jericho off the cage onto the ramp. The Inner Circle would interrupt the Pinnacle celebration by coming out in a bubbly truck. The Inner Circle couldn't do the same thing as the Pinnacle, spraying them with bubbly and ruining their celebration. However, MJF would challenge the Inner Circle to a Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing, the stipulation being that if the Inner Circle lost, they had to disband. Jericho would accept the match, with Guerrero primarily wrestling Sean Spears. At Double or Nothing, the Inner Circles would win after Guevara hit a 360 senton on Spears in the ring after an extensive backstage brawl between the two, keeping the group alive. On the following episode of the pay-per-view, the Inner Circle would declare the Summer of Violence for the Pinnacle. And then on the 30th edition of AEW Dynamite, Sammy Guevara would lose to MJF after Spears hit him with a chair in the head. On September 29th, Guevara won the AEW TNT Championship at Dynamite by defeating Miro. The next week, Guevara made his first successful defense against Bobby Fish at a special Holiday Bash episode of Rampage. Guevara would lost the title to Cody Rhodes, ending his reign at 87 days. A TNT Championship match between Rhodes and Guevara was scheduled to take place at the Battle of the Belts on January 8th. However, Rhodes was forced to withdraw after being exposed to COVID-19. An interim TNT title was created as a result of the match between Guevara and Cody's brother Dustin being scheduled at Battle of the Belts instead. Guevara would go to win the match and become interim TNT champion. Guevara beat Cody Rhodes in a ladder match to unify the belts to become the undisputed and two-time TNT champion. The match was awarded 5 stars by Dave Meltzer, giving Guevara his first 5-star match. The Inner Circle had a team meeting that ended up with Sammy Guevara throwing his vest and walking out. Guevara would win a tornado tag team match with Allen and Sting over Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. On Dynamite, Guevara would lose the TNT Championship to Scorpio Sky. Sammy would continue to feud with Scorpio Sky, but in conclusion of his girlfriend Conte due to the official signing of Paige Van Zant in AEW at Battle of the Belts 2, Sammy Guevara successfully ended Scorpio Sky's undefeated streak with a low blow, winning his record time 3rd TNT Championship. Sammy dropped the belt back to Scorpio Sky on an episode of Dynamite in a ladder match, thus ending his reign at 12 days, which is the shortest reign in title history. Guevara also suffered injuries in the ladder match to his shoulder as a result of a twisting splash from the top of the ladder. At Double or Nothing, Sky, Van Zant, and Ethan Page defeated Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Tay Conte in a 6-person tag match. We've got Guevara and Kazarian losing their right to further challenge Sky for the TNT Championship as a result. And now we're going to talk about the Jericho Appreciation Society. So, on a 2022 Dynamite special episode, Road Rager Guevara dresses Fuego del Sol interfered in a hair versus hair match between Ortiz and Chris Jericho, costing Ortiz the match. Returned with Jericho, reunited with Jericho and Hager, officially turning heel, joining Jericho Appreciation Society at Forbidden Door. Guevara and Jericho under the subunit Los Ex Gods teamed with Minoru Suzuki, defeating Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta. At Blood and Guts, Guevara and the Jazz were defeated by Blackpool's Combat Club, Santana Ortiz and Kingston in a blood and guts match. At AEW's Rampage Quake by the Lake, Guevara teamed with his wife Tay Mello to defeat AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship against Dante Martin and Sky Blue, and they were successfully retained. After this, Guevara began to feud with Kingston, and the two scheduled to face in a match at All Out. But the match was cancelled after Kingston was suspended by AEW for getting a legitimate backstage dispute with Guevara. Instead, Guevara and Mello successfully defended the Triple H Mixed Tag Team match, the Tag Team Championship against Ortiz and Ruby Soho. At Full Gear, Guevara was unsuccessful in winning the ROH World Championship in a four-way match, which included Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Chris Jericho, who won the match. Guevara competed in a Face the Revolution ladder match, which was won by Powerhouse Hobbs. Guevara defeated Jungle Boy Jack Perry by countout with assistance from MGF in the semi-final of the Four Pillars tournament. The following week, Guevara would again win the match with assistance from MGF, this time defeating Darby Allin by disqualification. However, Tony Khan stated that in a single match between MGF and Guevara would, at Double or Nothing, would only go ahead if they could beat Perry and Darby in a tag team match. If Perry and Allin won, the World Championship match at Double or Nothing would be a fatal four-way match between MJF, Guevara, Perry and Allin. Perry and Allin won, and at the event, Guevara was unsuccessful at winning the AEW Championship, which was won by MJF. At Forbidden Door, Guevara, Jericho, Minoru Suzuki under the subunit Les Suzuki Gods faced Darby Allin, Sting, and Tetsuya Naito in a losing effort. Guevara, along with the rest of Jericho Appreciation Society, held a mandatory meeting after Jericho began interacting with Don Callis. It led to each member walk out on Jericho, with Guevara being open to returning if Jericho fixes the situation. So the Don Callis family and the six scars between 2023 and 2024. Guevara accompanied Chris Jericho to the ring. His match with Will Ospreay. Jericho ended up losing the match and walking away from Guevara after the match. At Grand Slam, Guevara was defeated by Jericho. Guevara, however, turned heel and attacked Jericho with a low blow after the match, similarly to what Jericho did after his WrestleMania match against Shawn Michaels. Guevara would then leave with Don Callis joining his family. Guevara, along with Ospreay and Kono Suzuki Tashita, defeated Jericho and the Golden Elite in a six-man tag match, with Guevara pinning Jericho with the help of Callis. At New Year's Smash, Guevara returned to AEW as a face by confronting the Callis family before getting attacked by them. He would be saved by Jericho along with Sting and Darby Allin, then came out to help Guevara and Jericho to clear the ring. Later, an eight-man tag match pitting the team of Jericho, Guevara, Sting, and Allin against Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Kazuki Tashita was scheduled for World End. At the event, Guevara and Jericho, Sting, and Darby Allin defeated Starks, Bill, and disqualification match, Hobbs and Tashika. On another side of Rampage, Guevara faced Jeff Hardy in a disqualification match during the bout. Hardy sustained a broken nose, but managed to finish the contest. Guevara was suspended later for a concussion protocol during the match. So we're going to go on about the Sons of Texas. So Guevara made his debut for AEW's Sister Promotion Ring of Honor on August 1st, Ring of Honor Wrestling, where he came to the aid of Dustin Rhodes, feuding off the attack from the Dark Order. Guevara teamed with Rhodes to defeat the Undisputed Kingdom to win the ROH World Tag Team Championships for the first time. Guevara and Rhodes then formed a stable known as the Sons of Texas, with Marshall Ross Von Erich, who held the ROH World Six-Man Tag Champions with Rhodes, explaining that they were all Texas natives and they have connections to Texas wrestling legends. Rhodes and the Von Erichs through their respective families, and Guevara was trained by Rhodes and former WWE partner and Texas native Booker T. At the final battle, Guevara and Reyes successfully defended the titles against the Righteous in a Texas Bull match. At Wrestle Destiny, Guevara and Reyes successfully defended their titles against House of Torture Show and Yoshibu Kamuna. At Double or Nothing, Guevara and Reyes successfully challenged the Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. At Supercard of Honor, Guevara and Reyes successfully defended the titles at the Infantry. The next day at All In, Guevara competed in a four-way match for the vacant AEW TNT Championship, which was won by his tag team partner Dustin Rhodes. Guevara and Reyes were forced to vacate the ROH World Tag Team Championship to Rhodes, suffering an injury, ending their reign at 378 days. And on the same day, Death Before Dishonor, Guevara teamed with Marshall and Ross in a losing effort to Shane Taylor Promotions for the vacant ROH World Six-Man Tag Team Championships. Later in that night, Guevara teamed with Rush to defeat the Outrunners to win the vacant ROH Tag Team Championships. After the match, Guevara attacked Marshall and Ross, turned heel, and joining La Fashion, Inga Bernabel. Guevara and Rush were forced to vacate the title due to Rush suffering a knee injury, ending their reign at 91 days. Guevara and the Beef Motos defeated Adam Priest and the Dynamite Kid Tommy Bennington to win the vacant titles, giving Guevara his third ROH World Tag Team Championship reign. Guevara unsuccessfully challenged Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship in a no count-out match. His return to AAA in 2022, Guevara returned to AAA, teaming with Tay Conte to defeat the Lost Vipers, Marvilla and Latigo, and Sexy Star 2 and Commander to win the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championship at Triple Mania. For most of the match, La Parca Negra would wrestle in Guevara's place. I don't really watch AEW that much, and I haven't seen many of Sammy's matches, but I do think he has potential from the ones I've seen. He's obviously made an impact in AEW by the looks of it, and ROH and AAA. Yeah, if you want to give your opinions on Sammy, go ahead. Just be respectful in the comments towards anyone, because there's no point being disrespectful at all. There's no need for it. But yeah, I wanted to do another short one because on a Friday my stepmom's always home, so I didn't want to do a long one and they come out and ruin the recording and we have to restart basically. So I was going to do a short one, get it uploaded. Next week, Wednesday, I'm off and she's off, so I might not actually get one in unless she's not here. So it might have to be a case that I do another short one until she goes back to work, basically. So, but yeah, I hope you like this one. It's not the same background because again, she's in a room and I can't record that side of the house without making too much noise because she will wake up and shout at me. But I should be back in that side of the house in a couple of weeks when she's back at work. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Tell me what you want to see next.